Hey gang, I'm radio and TV personality Rob Pagotto in Toronto, Ontario, and we are gearing up for the Accounts Payable and Leadership Conference in Chicago happening September 25th. And I'm talking with Debra, our Richardson AP trainer, consultant, and speaker with iFull. Debra, we've done a few webinars in the last, I would say, 8 months, and you just have a wealth of knowledge, and I'm so looking forward to seeing you in person in Chicago. Tell us about your professional history.
Yeah, so I used to be an AP practitioner. I worked for a Fortune 15 company in the AP vendor setup and maintenance space. I mean, I had a team of 17. We processed, 2,000 vendor requests per month. We also maintained 140,000 active vendors across 7 different ERPs. So that's a lot of potential for fraud, fines, and just bad vendor data. But I'm also a certified fraud examiner. And so I talk a lot about how to avoid fraud. But I also, have had that experience in accounts payable and vendor setup and maintenance surrounding the processes to avoid fines and bad vendor data, and just to make sure you just pay the right vendor every time. So I'm happy to share that knowledge with the iFull members and conference attendees.
Well, we can all attest that fraud is rampant online. It's the phone calls we're receiving. It's everywhere now. And of course, AI is just assisting that, but it also can deter it.
Correct. Yes,
So,
it can.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it can. It absolutely can deter it. And if you ask most professionals that are in the AI space, they will say it takes AI, to combat AI. But there are still some things that the vendor team members and the AP team members can do at that level to avoid those scams that the fraudsters are coming up with, because they're evolving every day. And so what I like to say is, the fraudsters are using AI, to perpetrate fraud and different scams. But at the user level in AP and vendor maintenance, we can also, use AI, not for nefarious purposes, but we can use it to help us to eliminate those manual tasks. And there was one really good saying, actually, it was a lot of good things that came out of a iFull webinar called Top 5 Essential Future Finance Skills. And one of the great things that I took away from there, and I wish I would have come up with it, Rob, but I didn't. It was another panel member. But they said, don't behave like a robot and you won't be replaced by a robot. Because a lot of times, when you think about AI, it's in third-party platforms. It helps companies do things that team members do today. And so you think about it, in those terms, and it's like, well, AI take my job. Well, not necessarily, because again, don't behave like a robot and you won't be replaced by a robot. And it's best to get in front of AI and identify those things that you're doing currently that are manual, that can be done by AI, and you can program it, You have the ability to program it and to find those tools that can help, eliminate those manual processes. And that's where I think we really need to go at the user level. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about in Chicago.
Well, I was just going to say, we really are going to be working you in Chicago because you're a keynote speaker, and that's going to be artificial intelligence at the user level and vendor setup and maintenance, which you kind of just spoke about. And you're also going to have a workshop, Essential 1099 MISC well, sorry. Let me do that again. It's Essential 1099 MISC NEC reporting process updates for taxes in the year of 2024. Tell us a little about that, because I just fumbled on it because I'm a little confused.
Well, you know what? I think the IRS does that on purpose, Just they have all these new forms and these new regulations and new requirements. It seems like almost every year there is something new that we need to keep up to date with, so that when we file the current year's taxes in January, February, March, that they are compliant, right, with the new IRS rules and regulations. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Typically, the IRS will come out with new requirements late September, October, but there are some things that we already know that are going to affect 2024. And so I'll talk about those, and then I'll give some resources so that they can continue to check, right, when the IRS comes out with the final updates late September, early October. But again, there's some things we already know, and we'll talk about those.
Wow, this is going to be quite the session. I look forward to seeing you again in person in Chicago, September 25th. Now, before I leave you, Deborah, a little fun fact about you, please.
Yeah, so I grew up with a pool table. My father was not necessarily a pool shark, more like a pool hustler, but he did teach me how to play pool. But it's been a few decades since I've done that, but I am back into it now. I play on a couple leagues, and so it's really a lot of fun. I've got my own cue stick, and so I'll try to find some place in Chicago where I can go to maybe a local bar or a local place to try to get in a couple of pool games while I'm there. And if anybody wants to join me, just let me know.
I was just going to say that is all the reason right there to join us. All you have to do is click on the link that you're seeing on our screen. Not only will you enjoy a great seminar and a keynote speaker, Debra Richardson, but a chance to take her down with a game of pool.
Let's go for it.
We'll see you September 25th. I'm going to play you, Deborah. Thanks again
All right,
for your
Rob.
time.
Thank you. See you then.
Bye-bye.